Hello everyone, this is H to the Husky here, and I actually have some footage of an Evolves game that I played right before the beta went down. Let me know right now in the comments below if you guys have played this map on the original StarCraft. Basically, the whole point of Evolves is that you get points by killing enemy units, and when you get to certain points, your units get upgraded. So you start out at Zerglings, and then you get moved up to Zealots, and then I forget the order after that. But it's called Evolves because your units are evolving down an evolutionary chain, and they get better and better, and then the idea is to kill your opponent's bunker. That's the whole point. And so it is 2 versus 2. This guy seems a little bit confused by that, but let me know below right now in the comments if you guys have played Evolves, because I absolutely love Evolves. I remember playing it on StarCraft 1, and it basically what would happen is I would I'd play 1 or 2 3v3 big game hunters, because I love that map. I won't lie, I love big game hunters in StarCraft 1, and then I would play an Evolves game, and then I'd play like a 1 versus 1 Lost Temple, and then I'd play big game hunters. So Evolves was kind of my use map setting of choice. For those of you who don't know what I mean by use map setting, back in the day, quote unquote, custom maps were actually called use map settings, and I've called them that for like 11, 12 years, so it's really hard for me to just switch to saying custom map. Now I have cut out a lot of the in-between, so this game overall was about 20 minutes long, and I decided to cut it down to about a 20-minute match, just so you guys could, see the action and see the battles. Now, your spawner here that I have selected actually has 3 abilities. It has the point defense drone, just like a normal Raven, which will shoot down ranged attacks, pretty much the same thing it does normally. It has the auto turret, which is also normal from StarCraft 2 in the normal, multiplayer 1 versus 1, that kind of stuff. And it also has mass recall, which actually comes in real handy in this game. You can mass recall a big clump of units, and so say you have a bunch of roaches, for example, right here. If all your roaches aren't getting in range, just summon them on top of your opponent, and you're good to go, because roaches are extremely effective in close quarters. Now, in the center here is the mass attack. I think most of you are probably familiar with this, where you use your Dark Templar to mass attack a location. So those little white dots, that's the part of the map that you'll mass attack. So if you do the top center dot, it'll send you to the top center of the map. Pretty self-explanatory. Now, for some reason, this purple guy is trying to get himself sandwiched here between the Huskinator and I actually don't know my ally's name because I can't read this on my screen. I'm sure you guys can tell me. And that's a really bad idea. There is actually a little strategy to Evolves. You don't want to get yourself sandwiched. You never want to have your Raven spawning units on top of the enemy unless you can for sure break that army, because a lot of times what people will do is they end up feeding their opponents, and here comes the yellow guy right now to kind of own me, and that's no good because Zealots are fairly good against Marines, especially when they have charge. And so like right now, if I left my Raven where it would have just sat there feeding guys. Now I'm up to roaches. Unfortunately, the other guy is up to Marauders, which do counteract my roaches. So right now, you can see the score counter in the top right side. I think I'm doing okay. I think I'm second, but it's kind of hard for me to read that on my screen. But now they're both sandwiched between us. And, at this point, I'm not too worried, simply because how should I explain this? The bunker is so powerful that they won't be able to kill it in the early games. So if they're attacking you like this, it's actually good. And he's actually spawning units up here for our DTs to kill. And so the fact that they're up here, that's actually good. And I also see that the Zealots and Marines are separated from the Marauders, and Roaches are really good against Marines and Zealots. So I'm using my Roaches there to kill these guys, because Roaches are good against that. Now, one thing I wanted to mention is that on this map, I believe at the time of playing this, that all the units had base stats from StarCraft 2, so nothing actually changed. So recall them out of here, and there we go. Yoink, give me those back because they were all about to die. And so the Roaches, the Stalkers, every unit in here, it has the actual stats that it does in StarCraft 2. I believe, I may be mistaken, but the last time I played this, the stats were the same. And it does cause some balance issues, but so far this was the most balanced version of Evolves that I had seen yet, and it was probably the most fun. So with that out of the way, this video, it's going to be about 20 minutes long, and it's kind of hard to talk, evolve strategy. So as you guys know, if you watched my last video, I've been feeling a little sick, and so I've been taking it really easy on the commentaries, because commentaries take so much energy, and you have to be, on top of your game, and I'm like super ecstatic and blah, 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 going 1,000 miles an hour. Not the best idea when you're feeling a little bit under the weather. So again, I'm taking it a little bit easier. I'm almost fully recovered, though, from that whole shenanigans thing. So I'm going to take it pretty easy on this one. And basically what I'm going to do is on my Facebook, I posted an announcement saying that I would answer some of your guys' questions. So I am going to go ahead and do that while this game is going. You guys can kind of have this relaxing music and the melody of people killing each other. It'll be an all around, and my soothing voice. Oh, my soothing voice. So let's stop that right now. So let's see. I'm just gonna read these as I see them. Hopefully there's nothing too inappropriate here. I'm just looking at the list, and looks like the very first person said first, so good job there. And oh, that question's not important. I live near Oregon. Can I meet you? I never actually leave the house, so that is going to be fairly difficult. How long did it take you to get good at StarCraft? I'm actually not as good as most people. I've been playing since it came out, so whatever skill level in the game I have is simply because I've always loved StarCraft. And I've always been better than my friends, but I don't think that that's really saying much. I think that a lot of us are probably better than our friends. Not all of us. That's cool, and we still love you, and we want you to get better and all that stuff. Just me personally, I'm better than my friends, but is that actually good? I really don't think so. Let's see. This person says, any chance to travel to Korea for only StarCraft and food? If I did go to Korea, it would only be for StarCraft and food. It would definitely not to be seeing North Korea. I don't think that that's a very hot tourist destination this time of year. But I think there's a good chance I'll go to Korea someday. I really look forward to it. I love to travel, and I'm hoping that eventually commentating is one way that I can get to be able to travel around the world. That would be extreme. And also I have my HD camcorder, so how sick would it be to see, like, where in the world is Husky StarCraft? Is that how that song goes? I think that's the original lyrics. But I'd be able to film that, and that would be absolutely awesome. Can I play StarCraft 2 with you? Sometimes I do fan games. I mostly, though, am doing commentaries when I am online, and when I am not doing that, I'm doing ladder 1 versus 1. So, I mean, there is a small chance that I might be able to play with you guys, but there's just so many of you. Like, it's nothing personal, it's just I can't, I don't really have the time. To be completely honest, I don't really have the time to do non-ranked games, because I only have the time to do a couple ranked games. So, sometimes I will do fan events where people can join in, but I can't play with everyone, unfortunately. I wish I had the time to, but I just really don't. How much of the single player will you be playing, if any? I'm going to play the whole thing. I think that I will be taking it a little bit slower in StarCraft 2 than I will on StarCraft 1, because, I mean, the main focus of my channel is going to be multiplayer and tournaments and all that stuff. But, I mean, I'm a big StarCraft fan, too. So, whoa, voice crack. Thought we got past those at about the age of 12, but I guess not yet. I mean, I love StarCraft, so I am definitely going to be playing the campaign, absolutely. Let's see. That question doesn't even make sense. Which race do you feel is the most dynamic in StarCraft 2? I think Zerg is the least dynamic. I think Protoss is the second most dynamic, and I think Terran is the most dynamic, because there's just so much stuff you can do with Terran. Protoss, I think, is a little too reliant on gateway units, because there's really no units combination that you can go mass without getting mass gateway units, if that makes sense. At least in the early and mid games, you have to rely on gateway units straight up. Terran, not so much. You can really go straight to air or straight to mech. And Zerg, they just don't have that many units, so that's my personal opinion. How did you start commentating? I actually have talked about this a lot, so I'm not going to answer this one quite yet. If you look at one of my previous posts on Facebook, oh, by the way, if you guys haven't followed me on Facebook, I just want to mention it is now it is now facebook.com/Husky StarCraft. So it's actually really easy to follow me on Facebook now, if you guys do indeed have a Facebook. There's little shenanigans where it got locked by accident, But I would like to thank Facebook for unlocking it extremely fast. That was less than 24 hours and it was unlocked, so I'm very pleased about that one. So I do have it back now. It's just facebook.com/HuskyStarCraft. Why are you so awesome? That's a matter of opinion. I don't know how awesome I am. I try to be as awesome as possible. And it's all about how you were raised, I think. And I was raised pretty awesome, so there you go. I'll give you a high five, says this person. I don't quite think they understand the correct way to set up a question, but I do enjoy high fives quite a bit. Let's see, this person says, is StarCraft 2 worth being bought even though it doesn't have LAN? Absolutely. I mean, the no LAN thing, no one's really happy about that, but I will say, so far, StarCraft 2 is looking amazing. If for no other reason than the map editor you're watching right now, it is going to be countless hours of fun, and we'll see what their plans are for LAN parties and stuff like that when it actually launches. But I will say, I